Just welcome to, this is our first webinar, kind of topical chats that we're going to have this upcoming year. Most of you know, my name is October Duffy, and I am at BevSource, a senior sales support person here at BevSource, and we are going to be talking just cans, bottles, formulas, anything and everything to do about beverage. And my cohort today is Melissa, who is our regulatory manager here at BevSource, and she's just incredible and has all the answers. And if she doesn't, she does incredible amount of research so that we can make sure that we're guiding you on the right track. Melissa, anything else? What do you do in regulatory? I should ask.
The scary world over here.
Yeah.
But in regulatory, we do a lot of risk assessments, do a lot of alcohol beverage registrations, licensing, things like that. We just make sure that as brand owners, you know everything that you're getting into from a compliance aspect and give you the risks and benefits and let you decide if that risk is really something that you want to take. Is it how high of a risk, how low of a risk, really try to understand. And a lot of it's going to come from not necessarily your state agencies, but your, I call them your shelf space competitors. So lots of class action. So we follow a lot of class action. So we know what you're getting into and can help you find that pathway that works best.
Perfect. And you have a team of 8, 10, a lot of people, 6?
Yeah, 7, 8, 7. Including me, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And so we kind of came up with this because I'm getting a lot of questions about the various bottle bills that are out on the market. Specifically, at least for me, the initial one was for Connecticut. That one has just kind of been a little bit more fluid at the beginning of the year. So I wanted to bring Melissa out so we could ask questions and kind of talk about what the Connecticut Bottle Bill means and just the very specifics of it. So Melissa?
Yep. So thinking back in Connecticut, they are starting to see that a huge waste issue. So one of the state representatives said, you know what, if we update our Connecticut Bottle Bill, it's going to really ultimately start decreasing that risk and that impact of the, just landfills and things like that. So they're really trying to get it more, they're enticing the consumer to recycle more and to do their part and increasing the bottle bill from, 5 to 10 cents, things like that. That's going to be something that will intrigue the consumer, because if you've ever seen it, there's bottle bill stations and they bring these like bags and bags of bottles and cans and then the consumer puts them through a machine and then they get a monetary reward afterward for being, a good Connecticut citizen. So they're trying to promote that. And with that is the new Connecticut Bottle Bill, which they put into effect in 2022. And then there's a 2023, January 1st, 2023 aspect. And now there's a January 1, 2024 aspect. So you've got 2 years to figure out your compliance situation there. And half of it starts in 2023, half of it starts in 2024. And where are you going to sit? Where do you have enough ends? Are you going to have ends later on? What ends do you need now? Really kind of understanding that landscape and working with the state to figure it out is really the biggest pain point right now with, Connecticut having these 2 large due dates of compliance aspects. So just really understanding that it's coming from a consumer aspect to be more recycling friendly and to be more environmentally friendly for a very small state is why the impact is so big on the state's representative side. They really wanted to put something in place to encourage the correct behavior within their state in order for recycling. So that's the gist, that's the background of it. And I know there's a lot of very specific questions that go along with that.
What's the impact of this change other than on the consumers? What does it mean for all of the end users?
The end users being the brand owners or the consumers?
Yeah, the brand owners. Yeah.
Brand owners. So the brand owners are going to be the ones that are impacted the most financially. You're going to have to start to determine where you need to start replacing your old cannons and getting into those new cannons. We really want you to make sure that you have enough stock of your old cannons to get you through the rest of the year, but also thinking about the future planning of your new cannons that will have the new Connecticut 10-cent bottle bill on it. And also thinking that not just beer and soda are included anymore. They really have widened that scope of beverage type. So like now they're specifically calling out hard seltzers. So hard seltzer in Connecticut is beer, but they're really honing in on, yes, we want your hard seltzers. We want your Truly. We want your, you know, White Claws. We want those cans as well. So they thought really explaining it would make consumers also understand it better. But even they're adding, you know, the teas and coffees and then kombuchas and then some juices, some juice drinks and then energy drinks. Coconut water is going to be included as well. So some of these aspects are also going to be impacted on your business. But just making sure you have that right end for the right date and enough to get through. That's going to be the biggest impact.
So what are the deadlines? Like when does our brand owners have to be compliant?
You have to be compliant with the 5 to 10 cent increase by January 1st, 2024. And then the other aspect was all of the different changes in beverage type was this past January.
So like what if I am sitting on, like, let's say I overbought because last year there was such a shortage, so I have so much stuff in the warehouse right now. Am I going to be out? Is that all going to be a lot?
Yes and no. So what you can do is you can always propose this to the state, and we have a really good relationship with the states. We do this in other states where sometimes these scenarios happen and the states understand. They understand that the supply chain, you know, crisis that we had gone through happened, and really working with them and providing them enough information to give you a grace. They'll extend it out for your brand, maybe the first quarter, second quarter, whatever that looks like, but you're going to want to partner with people that have the relationship with the state and also our partners with the raw material side. So those cannons themselves, if you partner with BevSource actually provides the state everything that the state will need to help you get that grace period, that further grace period with the state. And it's all very situational and you have to provide it up front. And they're not going to come back and question. They're just going to say yes or no. So having all of the information and everything in writing up front is going to get you more grace with the state.
So is it better to wait and see where I'm at in December and how much I have left, or should I be doing that now?
Be doing that now. Definitely starting to take inventory, you know, really looking at what your scope of business will be, you know, project that out, provide that to the state, you know, work with BevSource here. We can help you provide everything to the state. So forecasting, we want to make sure that you're not going to be out a lot of money. That's not the idea of that, right? Because then you're just going to have to recycle. They want you to use it and then provide the recycling in the state of Connecticut.
Awesome. There were a couple questions in the chat, but I don't know if I can see it. Rachel, can you see the questions?
Yes, we have one here that says, can you talk a little bit more about using CTRV in the interim between 2023 and 2024? Is there a determined amount of time to use CTRV?
I need a little bit more. Yeah.
What using CTRV in what way? I think I'm going to need a little bit more on that.
Context, yeah.
So I think there was something in the bill that you could use CTRV instead of, like, in the interim as you switched your labels until the 2024 deadline. So you didn't actually have to put Connecticut 10-cent deposit.
Sure. Yep, absolutely. They are going to let you use the CTRV in place of the Connecticut up until 2024. After that, you'll have to have CT on it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
But then again, you know, if you have 1,000 cannons left, you know, such a small quantity, maybe there is a possible use up that you can build a relationship with the state to get them to approve.
Thank you.
Let's see. Jennifer said, does the bill apply to all sizes?
The bill is specific to, pull it up so I don't have anything misplaced. So all glass, metal, and plastic containers that are 150 mLs to 3 liters of carbonated beverages. And then it's 150 to 2.5 of non-carbonated.
Jennifer, is that the size you're looking for?
But
So it's
yes,
like a
thank you.
4.5 to like a 7, yeah, a 4.5 to like a 19.2. Sounds like
yeah.
the 24 ounces are a little bit, may or may not be covered under that, depending on whether or not it's carbonated or not.
Great, thank you.
Corey, Melissa, by grace, it sounds like you're talking about a short-term exemption for certain companies. Is that right?
Could be.
Yeah, it all kind of depends on
absolutely.
how you package it up to how your relationship is. And I will say, as I think BevSource has a very strong relationship with a lot of the state regulatory agencies, and I think that they've learned on how to manage the journey for a successful outcome for all of the various brands that we've been able to help support in the past 20 years. Do you know, let's see, is that right? If so, do you know how many exemptions or special grace periods the state has granted? So is it, Corey, just Connecticut, or just like how many times have we been able to do that in various revolutions of?
Sure. Good question. Specifically with regard to Connecticut, and like the new beverages that fall under the January 2023 provisions, like energy drinks and ready to go coffee drinks, things like that. I'm just curious if the state has granted any exemptions or the grace periods as you discussed.
Yep. So I have personally not worked on any, I think it was energy drinks, but I know for alcoholic beverages, especially, those grace periods are granted. I don't want to say often, but as long as you have enough information, they're granted more likely than not.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Jennifer asks, go ahead.
Is there any impact to our distributors? There could be. The impact to the distributor is probably going to be more from domino effect as the impact from the brand owner. So if the brand owner has an impact, then yes, that will impact the distributors. As far as the CT legislation itself, the new bill, that directly won't affect the distributor. It's really just going to be how those dominoes fall onto the distributor. But it's mostly the retailer and brand owner.
Robert, what printing needs to be on the cans or cannons after 1/21/24, and can you start putting the language on packaging now? Well, I can speak to that a little bit. Go ahead. Do you want to do about on the cans after 1/1?
Yep. So what's going to have to be printed is going to be CT, what is now 5 cents. It's going to be CT 10 cents.
And then this is just kind of based on our partnerships that we have right now, from Arda and Ball specifically, just because those are the ones that we've been ordering as of late. There's a 4-week timeline on Arda. Those are the versions that they're offering. Ball is going to try and sell out their current 4-state ends and then transition to a stocked 5-state. So those are available to order, but it's going to be about twice as long just because they're not on the floor as of yet. And then I think, especially for the coffee producers and brand owners on the call, retort is campaign only, as always. So I would start, it can't hurt, from what I hear and from what we understand, those retort runs are going to sell out pretty quickly on those ends initially, and those runs are only every other month. So I would get your orders in now for the expectation to use them in October, November, December, if you want a little grace period, but then if you need that little hump before going into 2024. Is there any other questions? Is there anything else we can help you with?
October, I have a question about enforcement. Yeah. Are you aware with the new change to the inclusion of the new coffee drinks and energy drinks and things like that? Are you aware of the state enforcing it with their attorney general or anything like that?
They will.
eventually, I mean, I think it's still it was a little fluid in February
Sure.
when they changed kind of the definition of what the spirits and so fall kind of types of drinks, but they will eventually. They just haven't, again, it's a kind of a larger governmental issue. They're a little bit slower on the draw, and then once they get up and running, it'll be there. So that's kind of why we wanted Melissa on the regulatory on here. So if we know that you guys are going to be having issues, let's get ahead of it. Let's partnership now, and let's get all of our I's and T's dotted so that we can make sure that you won't be, hit with any non-enforcement problems. Safety stock, people, safety stock. Corey, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so this was our first one, you guys. So we're gonna do these kind of monthly. We're all gonna have different topics. I think next month we're gonna talk about Vermont. So if you have any issues with Vermont, come back. We'll send you an invite. Any feedback, we love it. We did record this. We're gonna put it on our Insta and send it out to our IBA members because we want them to be as educated as possible, as all of our brand owners to be educated. If there's anything else we can help you with, call us. We love to talk to you and hang out and all that kind of stuff. Will be a shout out to the CBC if anyone's going. We have a VIP kind of booth, and we'd love to see you there. Any other additional questions before we sign off? No.
October, I have another one. This is Corey.
Go for it.
Sorry to,
That's okay.
This might sound like off question, but it's serious. I'm aware that Guam has a bottle bill that was enacted about 10 years ago, but everything I've read, it's never been, I forgot to use the word. It's not only not enforced, but it's not implemented. Do you have any knowledge of Guam's bottle bill?
No, but Melissa.
Okay, sorry.
Very limited because, like you said, it's I don't want to say nobody cares because people do. It's just not enforced, just like you said.
Well, I mean, I use the word implemented because I can't find any details on how to actually implement it. There's a law out there that says somehow go forward with this bottle bill, but there's no implementing measures of how to actually do it, how to stamp it and everything. So that's why, I mean, it's not only is not enforced, but I don't think it's just a law on the books that there's no way to comply with it because there's no instructions. That's my understanding, but I've tried to call the state and didn't really have any luck getting a return call. So I was just curious if anyone had any knowledge, but because it's one of, I think there's 10 states that have bottle bills, and then Guam's the 11th, if you count Guam territory. So.
Yeah, that brings up a question that maybe others might not have asked. If they do enforce it, what's the worst case scenario? They take the product off the shelves until that you get, and so that's the loss of distribution, your shelf space and materials and etc.
And you're fined.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that?
Monetary.
Hey,
Corey?
this is Robert. Actually, I had one more question about the CTRV. Does that have to go away after January 1st, 2024? Is that just a temporary measure?
That is my understanding, that it's a temporary measure. October, do you have something?
It's temporary, but it hasn't. No one can give me a definitive. It's staying or it's going.
Yep.
As long as it has the right redemption value on it, it seems to be that's the bigger concern.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, correct, CTRV is allowed in lieu of an actual redemption value amount.
Correct.
So it sounds like there's still some question on after 2024, will the redemption value have to be added, or will CTRV always be allowed?
That is one of the biggest questions out there right now.
Okay.
And we're trying to track it down as best we can, but we'd rather have you have some information now than no information moving forward.
I think I speak for everyone. I say we very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions out there, you guys? No? Thank you. We appreciate you so much, and we love our partnership with all of our brand owners and everybody. So thank you. Right, Melissa?
Yes. Thank you. If you need anything, please reach out. We want to make sure that you're covered. You know, we don't want anybody to lose any kind of monetary or anything for this. So
Awesome sauce. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
bye everyone. Thank you
Later.
so much.